Hello, everyone. Welcome to the B&E podcast, the beginning of the never ending. Um, I'm excited today. I'm sitting down with a special friend, and we're going to be hearing the origin story of someone who's pretty close to us. And we're excited to kind of dive into the life. If you don't know, this is the story of people, the journey of someone's life and where they came from to, where they are now, and where our goal is to try to sit down and get to explore that journey and introduce you guys to our community. Without further ado, let's get it in. Today we have Mr. Benjamin Sattini, but Mr. Sattin is what we have, what we call it today. So what's up, my friend? Welcome to the show. How's your day going? How's everything going?
Well, thank you so much for having us, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Day's going pretty well so far. Sitting down with a special friend, so
Yeah.
always like to hear that.
Get excited. Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to jump into it, where does it begin? Let's start with kind of like obviously your ancestors. Do you know kind of your lineage and where you come from?
Yeah, pretty well. So we'll just start with my dad's side. So his family, they moved around like quite a lot. By blood, they're Italian. But my dad was born in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So like he lived there until he was like about 7 years old. Moved to Italy, lived around there for like X amount of years, and then he moved all the way to Johannesburg in South Africa.
Yo.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, it's strange. I'm like, wow, like they went all over the place essentially. My mom kind of the same thing, but more located in Africa. She was born in Zimbabwe, but she comes from a military family. So my mom's dad, my grandfather, my mom's side, he's a field surgeon. So he's not like the guy that like is in the field and gets shot at. Like he's the one that like when they airlift the troops out to like the camp.
Yeah.
He's the guy there that just goes just patches them back up and sends them on their way.
So you must have seen some things. What have you got to meet them? Are you close to your kind of great or grandparents? Excuse me.
On my dad's side, yes. Like unfortunately, my grandfather passed away last year. He lived till he was 88, 89, something like shit. Like he lived a full life.
Right.
My other grandfather, unfortunately, he had passed away when I was like 3-4 years old. I got to meet him. Like I still have the memory of him, of talking to him when I went to Africa to see him, but no, didn't like really get to know him because
He's 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah,
it's like glimpsing your mind almost.
Not even conscious at the time for some people. But yeah, no, he served in the Rhodesian army, so he like got to see all of the conflict that was going on around there, and they moved around quite a bit in that area, and then one day he just happens to be in Johannesburg, and over there they didn't really use phones too much because they were kind of out in the bush a little bit. They had CB radios, like what truckers would use, and that's how he met my mom.
So CB radio. How you met your mom?
Yeah, like old school Tinder, dude. Like, they had their like code names and everything, and that's how they met each other. Cause like I guess they were fiddling with the frequencies and everything, and then all of a sudden, like, oh hey, like my dad hears a lady's voice on the other end. He's like, oh, it's not some trucker or whatever,
right? Right.
And just
take something from there. So can you you mentioned that your grandfather just recently passed. I'm sorry for your loss.
Oh, thank you.
Do you kind of remember kind of his personality and what it's like?
Very much a carbon copy of my. I mean, I guess my dad is a carbon copy of him, but like they're very much like the same.
Sure.
So very quiet, kept to themselves.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Very sweet.
And you said your father was not a trucker per se, or is?
No. They just happen to have CB
okay,
radios out there because that was just their means of like communication and stuff.
Sure.
No, my dad wasn't a trucker. He comes from basically a family of people who were in the air conditioning business, HVAC and all that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so my grandfather started doing that and then he kind of passed that along to my dad because they would always be like in the garage like fiddling with like radiators and all this other
I
stuff.
guess you would be kind of a quiet person if you're working with your hands a lot and kind of like focused on just you and the machine in a way.
Yeah, and also because like it's an air conditioner. They're not exactly in front of people.
Sure.
You're usually on a rooftop, and maybe you're with one or two other people.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe on an install, like you got a couple people up there, like to help you tie it down. But like you're usually by yourself or with like one other dude to just kind of like make the job go faster, and you're just kind of like done.
And just be able to knock it out. So is your is your grandmothers hopefully are they still around as well? Do you kind of remember what they were like?
So my grandmother on my mom's side, she unfortunately had passed away a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like just had a few heart attacks, and it's just like she's getting old. And to be honest, the healthcare over there in South Africa is not exactly the greatest. Sure, so she just took a beating, like basically. Sure. And but my grandmother on my dad's side, she's still around. I mean, I'm pretty sure she's gonna live to be like 200.
Let's
like
go.
She's
an ox.
She's too tough to pass away, dude. Like even with all the other stuff going on, it's like she looks the same. Even like ever since I known her, so I'm like, all right, she's gonna be around for a while.
That's cool.
She's like 87 still, and I'm like,
how's her energy? How do you kind of remember what that feels like?
Oh, dude, she's an Italian grandmother.
Oh,
like,
let's go.
There's too much energy, dude. Like I've never seen her like calm down, like sit down. She's only like charging her batteries for a couple minutes, and then she gets back up and like always. You know.
So I have to imagine that this is an equal situation, right? Because you're mentioning that your father is a carbon copy of your grandfather, right? So I imagine your mother must be kind of a carbon copy of her grandmother. Is that a fair statement?
Oh yeah, like my mom and my grandmother, they look almost identical.
Really?
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because my grandmother on my mom's side, she's an identical twin. Like they look exactly the same. Like the only difference is their height, maybe.
Wow.
And yeah, my mom, like you can see, like if I showed you pictures, like you would be like, wow, like they look exactly the same. The mentality is almost completely identical. Yeah, like pretty much. They're pretty much the same person.
The food must be amazing. The Italian food must be like kicking right now.
Oh my gosh, dude. I can't tell you how many times I've had pasta fagioli, like, you know, every different kind of spaghetti you can think of, ravioli. And for those who've never tried it, panettone, that stuff is like.
Okay, put me in, coach. Hey, I'm in.
All right.
We got to try this out. We're gonna do a cooking show someday.
Yeah. Oh, dude, if you want to put your cooking to the test, make panettone. That stuff takes like a day to make because you have to wait for the bread. It's like okay, it's gonna sound a little funny, but it's basically Italian Christmas cake, but it's not like it's not like fruit cake or anything like that or anything like the Americanized stuff. Like no, this stuff's legit. It's more like a muffin, and
it's to die for.
It's like a muffin. It's like a muffin and raisin bread got together. And and you usually like you'll eat it when you're drinking some tea or an espresso. I tried actually making French toast with it, and it was so good. Like you got to try it out.
I'm in.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Because my middle name is Pacello, right?
I mean, your first name's Jovonni, so I kind of like gathered like
right?
there's a little olive oil.
And I did Ancestry, yeah, right? Yeah, I did some Ancestry.com, and they were like, yo, you got like 1%, maybe 2 in you. I was like, well, it's somewhere.
Yeah.
There's somewhere. But that's hilarious. I thought for a long time my grandfather was from Italy. We ended up finding out he's not. So I have a question then. You're kind of two sides of the world. You know, you have your mother family out here, and then you have your father's family in Africa. What was kind of your childhood like? Did you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, so I have one younger brother. He's younger by 2 years. So after my parents had gotten together, they really hit it off. They just decided one day, like, Johannesburg kind of sucks. I don't like getting shot at when I'm going to do a job, or, the crime over there is kind of out of control. They decided somewhere around in the 90s to move to California, to SoCal, and they got a place in Irvine. And then in 1994, they had me. And then 2 years later, my brother. So I have visited. I've been over there. I've seen the place, but like I've spent basically my entire life as a SoCal kid.
Sure.
Just like growing up around here, not having to worry about all that other stuff that's going on right there.
So I imagine that the life must have been pretty good then, in terms of like you didn't have. I guess in Irvine it's pretty nice in terms of not being kind of less than. But you have a brother, so I must be kind of like fighting over stuff. And
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What type of personality is he?
I would say we're polar opposites. He's very, he's a lot like my mom, where he's more, I don't know, in touch with his emotions, I would say. Like, and I think that's why they get along so well, him and my mom. They, stereotypical mama's boy. Like, but, and it's more me and my dad are kind of the same, a little bit more quiet, keep to myself. I'm kind of learned how to like
kind of that introverted, extroverted type of thing.
It's like introverted, extrovert when I feel like it,
Yes, and he's more extroverted in a way, in terms of your brother.
Yeah, it's weird. I kind of seen like a reversal of that, because I know like growing up, like he was very like he had quite a few friends in like middle school, early high school. And me, I was like the opposite. I was like very quiet. I was like, I just wanted to come home, play.
Really?
Yeah, like you would think, like looking at us, if you've known us as like kids, you'd just be like, he's like completely different now. Like it's the opposite now. Like he's just very like, this weird skinny kid. Me, like just kind of kept to myself. Didn't really do much, talk to girls or anything like that. And now it's like the complete opposite. And for my brother, it's the same thing. Like very extroverted now, like sort of like closed off a little bit more. It's weird. I wonder why that was, but it's just like, me personally, it's like, girls.
Sometimes it just works that way.
Yeah, sometimes girls take the quiet guy. For me, it wasn't working, so I had to learn something.
You were you mentioned school.
Mm-hmm.
How was school? Going kind of like because elementary school, middle school. Did you have you mentioned you didn't have a lot of friends. Did you kind of interact with any special people during that time?
Not too much. Like like I said, I grew up in Irvine, so everything was like very nice. Like you didn't have to worry a whole lot about stuff. But didn't have like a whole lot of like childhood friends essentially. It kind of sucks. Now it's like I've got a bunch of friends. Like we hang out in the Discord too and everything. And I'm very thankful for that. They're a bunch of really cool people. I'd love to call my friends. But growing up, no, like I didn't really have a whole lot of like friends. I wasn't like a popular kid. That kind of started to change like middle of high school. Like I kind of started opening up more, like kind of coming out of my shell a little bit more. That definitely did help. I think like getting into sports, going into the gym and everything, like that really like, it's like, hey, don't discount the gym, man. Like it helps.
No, yeah.
Not just physically, mentally. It'll change you in a good way.
So when did that become a big part of your life? Was that more high school, or was that actually? I imagine you didn't start training and
Yeah,
going through like Rocky movies in your bedroom.
That's like my favorite movie.
Start lifting books or controllers.
Right.
Going after it.
Dude. I would have found a way, believe me. No,
but you were a gamer. You were a big gamer during that time. It seems.
Yeah, I still am. So, here's what happened. So, kids play sports all the time. I was involved in sports. Didn't really like.
Oh, okay.
Just kind of did basketball, baseball, soccer, and everything. Not like professional, but like you go to like AYSO and everything, like all the stuff. Like you just stay active. Swim team and everything. But when sophomore year of high school rolled around, I tried out for volleyball. I got on the team. That was kind of funny because I didn't know that you could play volleyball on a court. I thought there was just sand. So when they said come to the gym, I'm like, is there like a sand pit they're going to set up? Or like, I didn't know that there was like a wooden court. I was like, oh, this is so much easier because jumping on the sand sucks. I hate jumping on the sand. It's so hard.
Yeah, it's a California thing. These beaches, and anytime you can find a volleyball court, they're on the beach, and that's what you always think it's that way.
Yeah. It's so difficult. I mean, it's good for your hops, but damn, like it's tough.
Sure.
And then I finished the whole season. I had a blast, and the coach comes up to me. The varsity coach comes up to me, and he's like, "So I heard you want to be on varsity." I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely, coach. Like, I definitely want to be on varsity. And he's like, well, here's 2 things you're going to need to do. You need to go to the gym, and you need to go to club. So it was like a switch went off, like that. Like, I didn't have to think about it. I just did it. Like, I just went in. I did 2 seasons of club before the next season started because volleyball's like, I think, like springtime. Like, around springtime it begins. So I had the whole summer, wintertime, and just go into the gym. Like I started doing club, and I did the off-season practices at the high school. I went from going from 4 days a week to the gym to 5, 6, and then sometimes I'll do 2 days, or I'll do my weightlifting and then do my cardio in the evening, or the other way around, or the practice. And it was just like I said, a 180. I was 140. I was like this, dude. I was a rail, dude. And I went from 140 to 200 pounds in 6 to 8 months.
200 pounds?
Yeah, I made a point to I want to get on varsity. I need to get on varsity. And as soon as I walked in, my friend Daniel, he's like, yeah, you're already on varsity, dude. Before tryouts even started, he's like, you are so gonna get it. I was so happy. It's wow, this is awesome. I put in the work, and I earned it. And I haven't stopped since, going to the gym and everything. I'll take breaks, but it's I think it's had a humongous positive impact on my life.
Did you become more social, or were you less social? Well, imagine so you were saying that you're very much more conservative. Well, I want to say conservative, but introverted during kind of your childhood years. You didn't even have much friends, and that was just who you were. But swing around that sophomore when you start going to the gym, do you kind of feel like that's when your personality changed to being more extroverted, being more out there, and that energy that they kind of kicked in?
Yeah, no, I've had people at that time tell me, they're like, you've changed, I'm like, you're the same.
There's a physical transformation, literally going from 140 to 200. That's I imagine if you had a picture, I would love to post it, because that must have been a completely different individual.
Oh, it's on my I think it's on my Instagram. I can show you. Yeah, no, there's a picture. There's a side by side of me being 140. I have a stupid buzz cut, and I'm wearing these weird belt or whatever. And then in the next one, I'm wearing this nice green tank top that I'm wearing, and it's just damn, he's changed. And that definitely made me more extroverted. It's just you're a lot more confident because you put in the work, you did what it had to take, you did what it took to get what you want, and you're now I'm on varsity, and it's and everyone's it's volleyball, and I'm I still did it. I still did something. That coach gave me I didn't even have to think about it, which was so cool. I was just I started talking to all the other people that were on varsity and everything. I basically rearranged my schedule to make sure that I could do it. I remember coming home after practice or a weightlifting session, and I would just hit the bed, just fall asleep, nap, wake up, go to the gym, just go, keep going. It's awesome. I love this.
Was it the love for volleyball? Because I love volleyball. Mm-hmm. I don't think volleyball gets enough credit.
Yeah,
it's a great sport. You've been in others, right? You were in soccer. You were in baseball. You did a few other sports as well. But there was something about volleyball that triggered that kind of determination to want to finish something. was it the community, the team that you were with, or was it just really just like you kind of just really enjoyed the sport in general?
I would say it's a little bit of both. Definitely the community, because everybody there was like really good friends with each other.
Mm.
Everyone like got along. There's like no drama or anything like that. No BS. It's just like, hey, we're just here to have fun, play some volleyball, like just go and kill it out there. And we weren't even the best team. Like I went to uni. Like we're not very well known for having good sports teams, but that didn't stop me. I was like, you know what? I'll still do it. Like I'm still gonna have my fun.
Mm.
So I would say, yeah, it's a little bit of both, and it's just also something for me. It's like, something I can look forward to, because I mean, I hadn't even begun my life, but at least I had something that I could look forward to, because I didn't have anything else going on, like no friends, no none of this. Girls would ignore me, everything. I had a pizza face and everything, and just being able to do something that like would improve me across all like aspects of my life, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and everything. Like I think that's what also like had the biggest impact on me. I mean, a lot of the like media that I watched like growing up was a lot of like, I mean, dude, I could tell you everything about Dragon Ball Z. Like, dude, that was, oh my God. Just like, it's going to sound corny, but like, if it works, who cares? Like just watching someone that has to like go through the trials and the tribulations, push themselves to their absolute limit. Like, I love that. Like Rocky. Like,
Yes.
like he's like the dude with like, that the story of Rocky and the story of Sylvester Stallone is already like, it's like the same thing. Like they're already both amazing stories. Like the guy was basically like a bum almost.
Yeah.
And he had to sell his dog in order to like pay for some like acting class or something. I forgot how the story goes, but it basically like the man had to sell his dog. Like who does that?
Right.
Like, and it turned out to be like the best thing he could have done for himself. He got like $50 from it or something. And now he's like multi-millionaire. Same thing with Rocky. Like he just like threw a switch on his head and he became like the greatest boxer that's ever known. Like fighting people that are outside of his weight class. No one does that. I mean, it's a fictional story, but still, like it's an amazing story.
I think that I think there is some nobility in people who want to try to be the best version of themselves, and it's not easy. I think there's people who kind of look down on others because they're less than, and it seems like you didn't let that kind of break you, when you could have. Going through a big part of your life, elementary school, middle school, a little bit of high school, and not get a lot of like support, right? And, because a kid left in his own thoughts. I mean, kids are really mean,
Yeah.
and they're really mean to themselves too,
Yeah.
And so seeing you kind of transform and be like, cool, I'm gonna put my life in my own hands, and I'm gonna take that seriously. I'm gonna take my, I guess my training and what my kind of like my next foundation to life seriously. That's a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, that's a huge accomplishment for someone to come from in that space, that mental space, into something like you're seeing. Like, okay, I used to watch Dragon Ball Z a lot when I was a kid. In Dragon Ball Z, there's something about you're seeing Goku, you're seeing Gohan, you're seeing these kids become men, and you just had that transformation almost in a way. You felt like you were going from being a kid and transforming yourself into a man, and that's cool. That's really cool. And it was not no one gave it to you. You just saw mentorship. Some man gave you mentorship, and you took that mentorship and you applied it, and you became something of yourself at a time, and it's carried for you in your entire life. That's really cool. So I want to kind of get into that. You mentioned that a big part of you, kind of like the test for you, right, was the volleyball, but also it was kind of girls as well. It was a little bit, I imagine, school. You mentioned spiritual, What was kind of the state after this, going into kind of the rest of high school? How was your kind of interaction with people now?
It was a lot better, like a lot more social. Like people actually like wanted to hang out. They'd say hey and everything. Like
became popular almost.
in a way, yeah. Like I wasn't like prom king or anything, but that would have been nice. But I got along with people. I would hang out with them. We'd all drive to In-N-Out because it's right by our school and everything. It was pretty cool. Like I liked it. Like it's like wow. Like I'm actually like people actually want to hang out with me,
Yeah.
and it's not just strangers on the internet that that I don't even know their names. I just know their username. That's it. So, yeah, like it's awesome. Like especially because I felt like I worked for it. It wasn't just like given to me.
Sure.
And
any key friends now that you can mention?
I would say okay, yeah. So like some of the people from my Discord, I would say, I mean, Keon's one of them. My friend
Okay.
Keon. Yeah, like he went to my high school. He's a little bit younger than me. But we didn't like really start hanging out till after. But he knew me because like he's seen me before. He's like, oh, like you were that skinny kid or whatever, you know, like.
I imagine what your brother would have thought too. Like kind of seeing you, like what the heck's going on with my older brother's getting it, and that's a kind of cool role model as well.
Yeah.
Do you kind of, because you mentioned he was kind of out of his shell, right?
Mhm.
And then he became a little bit more in his shell as well.
Yeah.
Was home life okay? Was like, things with, I don't know if you were kind of how close you were with your grandparents or with your other immediate family.
So, just to like kind of contextualize it. So like my dad, I mean, well, like my grandfather, very quiet, kind of kept to himself. He like, I mean, he took care of us, and like that's the best thing he could have done.
Yeah.
Like like he put food on the table, clothes on our back, everything, bills were paid and everything. Like the man moved mountains.
Yeah, coming from Africa with almost nothing. Yeah.
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 No,
for
it
sure.
was funny because they had to like sneak in like just the way it is, like you couldn't like just bring your money with you to the country. So they did the Wolf of Wall Street thing where they hid money underneath their clothes, and it's so they could bring it over and then exchange it here. Otherwise, the government would be like,
They would
no,
tax you.
nope, that's mine. Like,
Yeah, yeah, that's wild. But so okay, but was your relationship with him good and your mother good during this time? It's been good during high school.
During that time, my dad, it was pretty okay. I mean, it was fine. Can't complain about it. My mom, she's a helicopter parent, so wants to be very involved. Wants to make sure that she knows exactly what's going on and everything that's going on about our life. See, that worked a little bit better for my brother because of how his personality is. For me, it's just like, it feels like I'm having someone look over my shoulder all the time. Like you're being micromanaged, you know what I mean? It's a little annoying to say the least.
So just now, when you're starting to get into the groove, like, oh, I'm making it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you want to be a little bit more free. You're like, okay, I'm trying to stretch my legs, stretch my arms a little bit. And mom's like, no, I'm gonna be there for every practice. I'm gonna try to be there for every meet.
Yeah.
So like, where you going tonight? Like, I want to be there too.
I know, right?
I imagine that must be a little bit hard. How did you kind of find that balance? Never really did.
Just kind of grit my teeth and deal with it,
Okay.
and then moved out. So that'll definitely do it. Like, so if you got, hey, like, pro tip for everybody, if you're having issues at home, move out. It's definitely worth it. The responsibility is not outweighed by the mental clarity that you'll have. Like it's like everything, it depends on you now. But that's also the good news. Like it's all on you. So now I don't have to worry about, oh crap, I'm coming home and I gotta like, my mom's gonna wanna ask me about this and that and this and that and it's like, I just wanna go home. I just wanna go to my room and just go sit down, play some Team Fortress 2 or something. Yeah, like to the point where like I would I was just telling Julia this on the ride here. I would like memorize the parts of the house where I could step, because it's a wooden floor, upstairs, and it wouldn't make a sound, so I could get to my room. and the only way you could tell if I was in my room because the light was on, and so I'd like ninja walk my way over, just and like and like I would like I would test it with my big toe, and I'd be like oh, it's making a creak. Okay, move it over here, and then make it to my room, and I was like, okay, thank God. Okay, now hopefully she doesn't know that I'm here, and enough time passes, I just go to bed, and she doesn't even know. Okay, cool. Whew.
So you go through high school, and yeah, you're at this time where
Mm-hmm.
this is a big thing. You mentioned you didn't really know what you wanted to do or your direction you wanted to take, and obviously sports, being volleyball. You were in volleyball the entire 3 years when you were in, or 4 years in high school, or
It's 3 years. So,
okay.
okay, this is really funny. So I tried out for soccer when I was a freshman.
Mm.
In the genius machinations of my mind, I decided that I should try to do the mile run in jeans. And before I do said mile run, I'm gonna have a cup of tea with some milk and sugar in it and a cookie before I go and try out.
Yikes.
Yeah, so I didn't make it. Yeah, that didn't work out. So those last 3 years, sophomore, junior, senior, yeah, I played volleyball the whole time and I loved it.
Mm.
And then when I got into college, I had tried out twice. Unfortunately, did not make it. But then again, like at the same time, I kind of realized, because I talked to the coach about like, hey, like I'm trying to go to school too.
Mm.
What does this look like? Like, what is my schedule? What is this going to look like if I'm trying to become like professional or anything like that? And he told me, it's like, so you're going to be dedicating like almost like 3 to 5 hours a day just playing volleyball and maybe one rest day, and you're not even at the D1 level.
Mm.
So I'm like, damn, like that's going to be even more if I go to like Fullerton or something and try to become a D1 player. So just all that time and having to go to school as well, like I was just kind of like, I think it's better if I just continue with my education.
So you also saying as well that you're also saying as well that you wanted to move out. Did you already at this point do so?
No, I didn't. I didn't move out until I think it's when I was 25.
Okay.
25-ish. Yeah. Yeah, like I had moved out. Like it was funny because I literally just walked up to my mom and I said, I'm gonna move out by the end of next month. That's it. And then I did it. So I was just like, oh, thank God. And it was in the middle of COVID too. So I was just like, but I had just gotten a new job and everything, and I was doing really well there. So I was like, all right.
And so how was kind of because you mentioned graduating high school,
Mm-hmm.
going into college. What school did you go to?
So okay, so I was already doing like an evening class at IVC.
Okay.
But yeah, like when I graduated, I went to IVC and did that for 2.5 years. I had dropped out because it was kind of, at the time, it was more like, at the time I felt like it was more my mom wanted me to go rather than I wanted to go, and I was just kind of sitting there just like, I don't want to be here.
Sure.
Like, I'm just kind of here just, and I don't care. And now I'm back. Like now I actually want to go.
Sure.
You know, like I just completed a semester, and we're like just into this next one right now.
Let's go.
So like now I actually want to go.
But I know your father's a working man,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because he like you said keeps the bills paid. He's an HVAC, and I'm not sure, was he able to do it out here as well?
Oh yeah, like
Okay.
he opened his own business.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
so he did like commercial HVAC for like bakeries, like complexes like this one.
Oh, okay.
And everything. Like he would like not really residential, but yeah. But he would do kind of like anybody who's got an AC.
And so I imagine you kind of take on. You see, you're close to him, so you take on a working man. So I imagine you start working pretty soon.
I did work for him a bit.
Oh, really? I didn't expect you to work for him. I just like work in general. But go on.
Oh no, yeah, like no, I definitely started working like early because I'm just like, I mean, you can't really do anything if you don't have money. You know what I'm saying? No, I started working. Shoot, I don't even know. Like right after I graduated high school, I think. But yeah, I worked for him for a little bit, and like just found out it wasn't really for me. Like I don't think like HVAC really was.
Oh, okay.
Kind of my
It was the job, not him, though. Because there's sometimes working with your family is kind of like, oh, dude, this is not gonna work.
No, he's cool. Like no, I would like if you like it was the job. Yeah, no, like I would have loved it if he was my boss anywhere else. But like as a job, like I'm like looking at the way how the people live like at that place. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
not really sure I want to dip my toe into this too much.
No, I respect that. I respect that a lot. So what did you want to do? I know volleyball was like a big thing. So like this is a transformation moment, you know. It's kind of like I'm gonna bring back to Dragon Ball Z, but like it's like Goku and fighting, right?
Yeah.
And like you know Goku fights, right? That's what he does, right? You know. So I imagine like what does Ben do now? Like who is Ben? Like okay, Ben got to figure out like what direction do I go, you know?
Yeah, and no, I think I've spent quite a lot of time on this. Like I really wanted to go into bodybuilding. Then found out you have to be on like 5 different steroids to even compete, and I'm like, nope, not gonna do that then.
Yeah.
Don't want to die when I'm 50. And just kind of like, because when I originally started school, I was going into criminal justice, because I was thinking some kind of lawyer, maybe a prosecutor. And I had done about like 2.5 years as a junior officer for the Irvine Police Department.
Yo.
That was more for like just community service.
Sure.
But I honestly I would recommend it to anybody. Like if you really want to like understand like how our criminal justice programs work, like from the law enforcement side, like it's a really good idea. Like you can go on a ride along right now. You can go today. Like you can go and ask them like, hey, I'd like to go on a ride along and just see how you guys do things. So it'll really get you in the mindset of like why they do things the way they do and stuff like that. I know there's this guy on YouTube. His name's Donut Operator. I don't know if you guys heard of him.
Hey.
But he kind of like goes over like, what's it called? Like, body cam footage and footage over like proceedings. Like he kind of does it like how the show Cops works. Like he kind of like goes over. It's like, oh, this is why they're doing this, because he's a former police officer. He's retired now, and he's just like going over why they would do X, Y, and Z.
Why they make the decisions that they make.
Right. And I was kind of in that. I was like kind of thinking, maybe police officer, but I figured I'm like, well, prosecutor makes quite a bit of money.
Sure.
So I'm still leaning towards that, even in school. Like even now, like I'm still leaning towards maybe lawyer, but that's kind of the direction I'm heading at. But you know, I'm still going to the gym. Don't worry.
No, I imagine so. A lot of times what people say is that one of the things that really helps them figure out their way is traveling. And I know you went to Africa at one point. I don't know if it was as a kid or was it more as an adult. Do you know when you kind of went out there?
So I remember like when I went there when I was like 3 years old.
Oh, you went there really young.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was much later in life, but continue.
Oh no, I did as well, but like that's the first. So that's the first time I went. It's really hot over there. So I went there when I was 3, when my grandfather was still alive. We went to this thing. It's called the Brown House, because it's like this big clay house that's like huge, and it's made of, and it's completely brown because it's made of clay.
Sure.
And it's out there in the bush, so like you could sometimes see the wildlife. Like there were some warthogs that came to the door, because they were just like, they're curious animals sometimes, and they're just like poking their nose through the door. We went there, like kind of went on like a little safari thing, like where you just get to see the wildlife, got to see hippopotamus and everything.
Yo.
And then after my grandfather had passed, we went out there to like, there's like this, I think it's a baobab tree where we scattered his ashes, and that's where my grandmother's ashes were scattered as well, and my dad's ashes are going to be scattered there too. And then we went again when I was 14. I think I was 14. That was for my mom's brother's birthday. It's like his 40th birthday. So we flew out there to Johannesburg, and we took a road trip to Mozambique, which is like third world country, like textbook third world country. Like,
yo,
like no electricity, no running water. People aren't driving cars; they're driving like these little buggies they've scrapped together, and it's like crazy over there. Try it out if you've never been to a place like that. Like, go and see there. I was there for a week, and
your perspective changes a lot, I imagine.
100%. I think if you have to take malaria tablets before you go to a country, your perspective will change.
Sure.
Because like that the tablets themselves aren't even a guarantee. It just means you're gonna have a much better chance if you get it. Because I mean, what is it like? Malaria is like still like the biggest killer of like biggest disease that still kills people.
I imagine so.
Next to tuberculosis, you know. So we went
drinking water. Yeah, it's hard.
Oh, you can't even drink the water out there.
Yeah.
It's like when they say when you go to Mexico, don't drink the water. It's got to be bottled. It's the same thing over there. Like, you got to bring your bottled water from outside the country. Like, it's nuts over there. Like, they barely have an economy because of the hyperinflation over there. They have, like, these fun... It looks like a joke. Like, they have $1 trillion bill over there with, like, their prime minister or whatever on there. But, like, over here, that wouldn't even be, like, a nickel. Like, it's just so... It's bad over there. Like, you have to be careful with the food and everything. You have to be careful when you go outside because there might be, like, spiders or something. They even have, like, these, like, guards or whatever that, like, would hang out outside our hut just to make sure, like, any wildlife doesn't, like, wander in or anything like that. Because our first day there was a baboon spider. It's like, they're like as big as tarantulas, covered in hair, and they can jump. And I'm like...
They can jump?
Hell no. Like, I didn't sleep there at all. Like, I would stay awake all night just watching the door and sleep during the day. And yeah, they even found a snake in the toilet in someone's hut. It was crazy. Like, that'll change your perspective for sure.
And so, and this is the world that, like, your family comes from. And so, I mean, it's just very cool to see, like, how your father is just so tempered in a way. Even though he's not in this, he's in Johannesburg, not in Mozambique, but the same kind of concept goes, like, that's kind of his home, that's kind of like a little bit of your home in a way, and it's kind of a part of your history. Do you kind of feel like your kind of next chapter for you, kind of like in life, because you're going through school, you're about to you're getting through your school almost maybe a year or so from graduating. What is your kind of like big goals for yourself? Like, what do you kind of see as kind of the dream? What are you fighting for?
How much time do you got? So definitely am gonna graduate. Definitely need to get that done. Get a degree. For me, the dream, it's like I kind of like to look at it. It's like, how do I want to live rather than just like a job or something. So obviously, like, the love of my life is sitting right there.
Let's go.
You know what's gonna happen pretty soon.
Let's go.
And we have to get a house. That, of course, a few. I just want to live. I guess the best way to sum it up is living up to your full potential. Like, you don't want to get to the end of your life and whatever you believe in, if it's God or whatever, and you just find out, like, hey, like, this is all you could have been, or like, oh, I don't know if you've seen, like, David Goggins thing that he said, like, he's like, I don't want to go up to heaven, and because he's really angry, he's like, I don't want to go up to heaven, and then when I see God, when I see my Creator, he shows me this list, because, like, he 180'd his life,
right.
But it would show, like, 180 pounds, athlete, ran these world marathons, blah 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 blah, and then he goes, what is this? This isn't me. And then God goes, exactly, that's who you could have been. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, that's just that is a nightmare for some people. Like, you just find out, hey, you had all this potential. You could have been like the legendary Super Saiyan, but instead you sat on your butt and just ate food all day and cried about how your life sucks. So, like, that's where I'm coming from. Just to, like, I mean, more in detail, it's like, want to have houses, want to have a bunch of kids, want to have everything taken care of. Options. Like, the big thing is options. Just, like, I want to be able to choose, like, where I can take my kids to school, where I can live, how I want to live, how I want to eat, instead of letting someone else tell me. Like, whether it's my financials or the state or whatever, So just having, like, the power to do what I want. So that, I can do what my dad did. Like, he moved his whole family I mean, he didn't have a family yet per se.
Sure.
Like, he moved all the way over here so that we could have the best starting position. We could grow up in like Irvine, like a place. It's like what, like the third or the safest place to live in the
second,
whole world.
Yeah, it's the second or third, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't have to worry about anything. Like, I want to do that for my kids, not to pamper them, but to just make sure that they're taken care of, so I don't have to worry about them. And then we'll go on a trip to Mozambique or something and say, hey, this is how your life could have been. You could have like lived in a freaking hut, and one of you has to stay up all night just to make sure the snakes don't come in and eat your baby or something, you know? Like, you have to, like, you know, you have to have that perspective. So that's the dream right there. That's the dream, you know?
Looking back at your life, you mentioned you now found the love of your life, and that's been a big thing for you.
Oh, yeah.
Because even you as a kid, you would constantly beat yourself up in a way, just of like, man, I just, I want to, girls don't look at me, I don't have friends.
That's true.
But you went through that kind of transformation journey. You went from like Super Saiyan 0 to like Super Saiyan 2, 3.
Yeah.
And you really worked on yourself. And whether you could call yourself the environment that you were in, a little bit of pressure, not a lot of freedom, kind of cramped. How does it kind of feel to kind of be able to create something with someone else, to have a partner that kind of you can go rock with and ride with and kind of achieve that dream as you're fighting for?
I think it's great that I have someone that can basically be there, that I can bounce my ideas off of. Like, I told her this yesterday. It's like, you can literally just sit there and not say a word, and I can just rant to you, like, to get all the crap that's out in my head out at you, and you don't have to say anything. You just have to be there and just hear it. Like, that's it. Like, it's so nice to have someone there that also has your best interest at heart. I'm sure you guys, you can relate. That's why you're doing this.
Yeah.
Someone that will actually like push you. Like, whenever like, I mean, everyone always has like their issues. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm perfect, but whenever there's like an issue that we have, I've never looked at it as like, oh, like Julia's being she's nagging me and like, she's being just like my mom, No, I'm just like, you know what? She's getting frustrated because I'm not doing it. She's like, and I think I feel the same way whenever there's something going on. It's like, I'm never mad at someone for that. I'm mad because they're not doing what they should be doing, living up to their full potential. So I honestly, like, that shift in mindset could like save a lot of marriages, in my opinion, a lot of relationships too. Like, hey, I'm not getting mad at you because I'm being a tool. I'm like, dude, I think you can do better than this, right? And then they're like,
because you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not stupid, are you? And they're like, no, because no one's gonna admit they're stupid. And they're like, you're not stupid, so you should do this. And they're just like, if I don't do it, then I'm stupid. Damn.
It's hard to fight that, yeah?
Yeah.
One thing I really enjoy about your story is the kind of the transformation. One of the things that I find a lot of people do are kind of very like, they tend to look at their lives, right, in kind of like a negative aspect, right? All the things that didn't go right, or all the things that were wrong, or all the things that I should have done better, or all the things that I should have tried to innovate on, right? And I like the approach that you take. You have these key people in your life, especially being obviously, when your current girlfriend Julia, and also being like your father as well, is a big part of kind of like who you are and the identity that you have, and just how you look up to him in a way. And I think it's really cool to see someone who goes through a transformation such as yours, who has a goal and achieves that goal. Because once you win once, then you can win again, right? Because that's the hardest part for a lot of some people. Haven't gotten a win, and so they don't know what it feels like a real good win. And you accomplish something that a lot of people be like, oh no, there's no way. In one summer, like, there's no way. Like, what? So, man, it's awesome to kind of hear. I did not know this about you. Like, I'm like, man, I'm like, I need to go to the gym. Like, what am I doing? We need to get to the gym, boys. Is there any kind of final key thoughts or anything about your life you would like to mention?
That's a good question. There's nothing wrong with you putting yourself in a position where you need to grow. Like, if you need to put your head down, you need to, like, shut off your phone for a bit. Like, I mean, don't be like, sorry, Sarah, I gotta go on a mission or something. Like, don't do that. Like, don't do that. But, like, just say, like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I want to do. I need to focus. I need to put myself in a position where I can grow. I need to go in the hyperbolic time chamber for a year, dude. I gotta go and work on myself real quick. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, you gotta tell your friends, like, hey, this is something I'm working on. If you know anybody that can help me, great. But if not, I'm gonna be a little busy right now. I'm gonna work on this. I might have to work a little harder and do this, and that. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, some people I think people tend to overvalue that, like you said, like, people tend to have a negative aspect on how their life is. People tend to overvalue, like, how much of an impact the other things, like the negative things are. It's like, oh, well, I'm not going to be talking to my friends. It's like, they'll be there. Don't worry, dude. Like, get your stuff together. I don't care if it's cleaning your room or, learning a new skill, learn to play the piano or something like that. Like, get your stuff together. And if they're your friends, they'll understand. They'll believe you, and they'll believe you even more, and they'll probably do it too if you come back later and you're just like, oh my God, look at Gio. He just completely, like, blew us all away. I should do that too. Shoot, I need to do that. Damn. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you need to cut out those toxic people. You need to surround yourself with the people that are going to be a positive influence in my life. Like, who? Someone that's actually going to be there and push you. Like, you don't want someone that's going to be like, oh, sweetie, it's okay. Like, it's okay to feel upset that, like, this happened to your dad and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And it's like, no, dude, you need someone that's be like, hey, this is what we can do. We're going to get this together. We're going to draw out a plan. We're going to write something out. Do whatever it is you need to do. Put up a dream board. Do something rather than just talking about the issue. I'm going to rant a little bit. So
put it to action.
I think it's a bit of an issue with people that are our generation and younger. It's like, we'd rather just talk about something than just actually doing it.
Sure.
Like, I don't like that. I hate that. Like, it's just like, okay, yeah, there's a time and place for it, cool, but I'm not your therapist, man. And if I was, I'd be making a lot more money. Like, go do what you need to do. Go to the gym. There's okay, our country is like 70% overweight or obese. I don't think it's a tall order to say, hey, let's go out for a 30-minute walk. Just walk. And maybe just eat a little less. Like a donut or two's worth. That's like 400 calories. That's not really a lot. That's enough to set you on the right path.
Right.
And I guarantee you, depression, everything, health issues, all that stuff will drop like that. Like, let's put all the pharmaceutical companies out of business. Like, it's much better to do that than get hooked up on opioids and crap, or just smoking weed and just, like, wasting your life away and self-medicating.
Yeah.
That term likes to get tossed around. But do what you need to do. Don't be afraid to put your head down. People aren't going to get offended that, I mean, you guys obviously have accomplished quite a lot. I mean, you found the love of your life.
Yes.
You guys have a successful business and a very successful podcast. So
hopefully soon
we'll get there. So, like, you want to make sure that, like, you can put your head down. It's like, hey, we got to work on this thing. Yeah, we got to work on that. Otherwise, like, we're not living up to our full potential. It's like, oh, my life's hard. My dad passed away from Alzheimer's, blah, 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 blah. It's like, all right, dude, the world will keep turning. You just got to deal with it. That's all you can do. You can only control your emotions and your actions and nothing else. And people spend the vast majority of their life trying to get in control of one of those things. So, it's such a blessing to be able to, like, have that awareness, like, hey, I'm being a little emotional right now, I need to stop that. Hey, I'm not doing what I need to do, I need to stop that. Like, at least make inches towards it. Or what is it called? My sensei, when I was learning kung fu, he said inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is very hard. But at least we're making progress. So I mean that's my rant.
We have a section that we do. It's called a deep question section.
All right.
So we have a list of deep questions for you.
There we go.
So they're a variety of different things, but I think this is something that you might like a lot. So
here we go. I'm excited.
Ready? You jumping into it? All right, let's do it. So the first question I have is, name your top. Oh, okay. This is gonna be even better. Okay, name Julia's top 3 pet peeves.
How do you want better? I'll give you the top 30. Oh my God. Well, I just talked about it. It's like when I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do.
Okay.
Oh, dude, I feel the same way. It's just like, like if I don't do something as simple as like she's the most important girl in my life. She needs that attention. Like she needs me to be there for her. Like she's trying to do like 3, 4, 5 different things. She needs someone there to like say, hey, you're doing great. You look awesome. Like you need that. We kind of have like, I don't know what you would call it. Like there's like in the gym, I'm the one that's kind of like coaching her. It's like, you need to do this. You got to fix your form. Like do your diet. But when it comes to like the other stuff, she does that. You know what I mean? Like she has her, like she's the CEO of that. I'm the CEO of the gym. She's the CEO of, she's the CEO of my education, but I'm the CEO of her diet or whatever. You know what I mean? And just not caring, I think, is like the worst thing you can do. Like one of the worst. Like just being like whatever. Ugh. Like that is definitely number one. I would say number 2 is, and I don't think anybody should do this, embarrassing her. I don't think I've probably only done that maybe once. Never embarrass the spouse or the girlfriend or the boyfriend in front of people. Like, ugh. Like I'll take her side on things, but like I won't be like, no, see, you're just being dumb, and you know I don't think you're making very much sense. Like just completely like downplaying them. Nobody likes that. Like it just like, because it's not even like you're arguing with them. You're just literally telling them you don't matter. And that just makes people, that would make my blood boil. Like really? Like when I ask her about her TikTok stuff, she doesn't go, well, you don't know because you don't have 10,000 followers like I do. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, no, like she'll like pay attention to me and like, and explain it to me. And the same thing with the gym. I'm not going to be like, I've told you how to squat and I've told you how to do this like so many goddamn times. And it's like, no, dude, I'm a brick too. Like I need to be told things 5 times. Like, dude, like it needs to stick. Like sometimes I need the reassurance. Like it's not so much being told again, it's the reassurance that you get that like helps cement it in your brain. You know, it's maintenance. And then I guess the third thing is like just not being a gentleman. Like she comes from the Philippines, so over there it's a little bit more, I would say, conservative. Like they're very traditional, very family values and everything. And I think that's one of the reasons why originally she was attracted to me. It's like, you know, you open the door for her, you know, all that stuff, paid for the first date and everything. Because she's told me the horror stories. She's like been on a date with a guy or two, and like there's this guy who ordered for her. That's just like, oh, she'll have the salad, like that. I'm just like, bruh.
Yikes.
I'm glad this was only one
don't
day.
do that, guys. That's not that's not a good sign.
I'm just like, are you kidding me?
Not
like,
a good sign at all.
It's just like, not even asking her what she wanted. Like, oh, she'll have the salad. And it's like, the ego on this man.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. So, you know, I always make sure she's taken care of. So
let's get it.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, my next question for you, what is the last thing that you've learned about yourself that surprised you?
I guess the most recent one, stand your ground. Like in your beliefs or whatever it is, stand your ground. Like stand up for yourself. Like, you know, if you're right, you're right. Don't buckle because it's not the perceived right thing to do. Or don't buckle because it's like, oh, you're gonna piss off your family, you're gonna do this and that's like, no, like, dude, stand up for yourself. That's why I moved out too, because then I can start having my opinion. I can't just go, oh, I'm gonna get grounded, I gotta go to my room and I gotta deal with this crap. It's like, you know what, if they don't like me, they can leave. Or I can leave at least. I'll at least leave. I can just go back home and not have to worry about it again. If someone's pissing me off, I just leave. It's like, I mean, I learned that like really quick when I was in when I was doing door to door. I'm sure you guys can attest to that. Like,
Sure.
like you don't argue with an irrational person or someone who's upset. You just go, okay, you have a good day.
Say
Bye.
less. Yeah.
Like same thing with me. Like if someone's gonna be like giving me attitude and crap, like I don't have to deal with it. Like it's like why? Like why do I have to indulge in why do I have to rationalize an irrational person? You know?
Right.
Like I won't get too much into it, but there was like a recent situation with my living situation where I was living with some people who just could not understand the simple concept of cleaning up after themselves. And something like that, I mean, okay, so like I listen to a lot of like Jordan Peterson. I'm trying to read one of his books right now. I'm reading a different one because it's for class, but something really provoking to me that stood out was the what's it called? Cleaning your room isn't just something that your parents nag
So
you
huge.
about.
This is so huge. Absolutely true.
And the reason for that is because that is the only finite space in the world that you have complete control over. Unless you live in like Ukraine right now.
Sure.
But, you know, like that is the one space you have complete and utter control. And if you cannot simply handle that, then how can you be trusted with your child when he comes home saying, I was bullied today? Or if your wife says, I'm having some issues with work and all my girlfriends are being mean to me. How can I trust you with that if you can't simply vacuum your room? And I'm not perfect. I mean, Julia can tell you right now, my room is probably not super stellar right now.
Sure.
Like, I'm not saying you have to be like, freaking, what's his name? The guy from Gattaca, like where he's like vacuuming all like the excess like skin that's like flaked off onto his keyboard. But like that's the finite space that you have. That's you. That's your kingdom. That's the kingdom you have. Whether you want to believe, oh, it's government, it's still okay. It's still you. That is the even there's like a Buddhist doctrine that says like at the highest level of enlightenment, like you are what you make of the world. So if what you make of the world is you live in like a dirty house where you don't take care of it, then when people come over and they see that, they're gonna think that's you. Oh, he doesn't clean. He leaves dirty dishes in the sink. Oh, like there's like a mess. Like the bathroom smells. It's dirty. The garage is in disarray. There's stuff all over the place. He looks like a hoarder. Like that's what people will think of you. Because those are like, I mean, everybody says actions speak louder than words. Like, yeah, if they see that you didn't take the time to put your stuff together, whenever I come and see someone's like house is put together, I make sure to say something. I'm just like, wow, good job, guys. That's awesome. It's like you've maintained the kingdom. So, like that, I think that's one of the more recent things that I say I've learned, and it's just been expanding on that, like into other things. But yeah.
Yo, that's huge. Yo, so another question I have. Dude, you're dropping bars. I don't even know what to say.
Sorry. Thank
No,
you.
it's like, geez, I'm just letting you go because this is awesome. But I think a lot of people need to hear stuff like this because it's there's definitely a message that's being sent out there, but it's definitely not this. It's a lot more of just like, hey, you know, bad bitches make money, you know, like, you know.
Well, although I do agree, bad bitches drive white cars, and I drive a white Volkswagen, so I am indeed a bad bitch.
Hey, let's get it.
So there we go.
Let's go. So so I have one final question.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see which one is the best one right here. Oh, I think this is the like good final question.
There we go.
The past, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you prefer to remember it or forget it, and why? So we just went through your entire history of your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some good parts, some bad parts, I imagine.
Right.
Yeah. So the past, do you prefer to remember it or forget it, and why?
I would say remember it and learn from it. Just because I think a lot of people now, like we were just talking, like they like to dwell on their conditions where they grew up. Oh, I grew up like this. I was broke. I did this. I was that. It's because of how I look or what I believe or whatever. It's like, yeah, I understand. It is hard. Everybody's dealt a hand. Some people have a royal flush. Some people have two pairs, and that's it. But you can't fold. You're not allowed to. That's just how life is. Like it sounds like, I mean, oh, Mr. Stoic over here, dude. Like, it's like, it is what it is, man. What are you going to do? Oh, dude, like this guy was giving me a hard time. Oh, I had all this issue with this and that. Like, okay, you just got to deal with it, man. You can't just like go, oh, I'm going to make a career out of just complaining about it and talking about the issues and trying to get my government to like legislate it and all that stuff. And it's like, dude, like, look what, what's his name? Mr. Beast just did.
Yo.
That man's a legend. Okay. I would look up, I think everybody should look up to that guy. He just cured 1,000 people of their blindness, all because like they just couldn't afford it, or they didn't have the means to like pay for like a surgery. And it's like a 10-minute surgery, costs like $10,000 or whatever. And he's just like, yeah, I think I just do this. And I mean, there's a big controversy around it. Oh, I don't even know why there's a controversy. They're like, oh, well, there's an issue with our healthcare system, and he's just doing it because he's just making money off of people's poor conditions. I was like, I don't care. The ends justify the means. He could be the biggest piece of crap ever. Okay, well, 1,000 people can see now. And now they get to see your stupid little comment telling them that it's not good.
Yeah.
Like, what? Okay. But, yeah, like...
remember the past.
Yeah, like, remember the past, because, like, that's where you came from. You learn from it. Don't learn to... Like, I remember who I was, like 10 years ago or whatever, like 12 years ago, when I was this skinny, like, piece of crap, like, that couldn't talk to girls or anything. Learn from that and say, hey, I don't want to end up like that. I honestly, I think people are motivated by two things. It's either the dream or the nightmare. Me, I'm more of a nightmare. Guys tend to be a little bit on the nightmare side, I think.
Sure.
I see I see all the bad things that I could have turned out. Like, I could have still been sitting in my room playing video games, just hoping my mom wouldn't come and bother me. Just hoping I wouldn't have to deal with all this BS that's going on in my life with my dad and my mom and my brother and all these other things. I just go out and deal with it because that's what you're supposed to do. It's like, do I want to be like that? Nope. Okay, well, then let's change. Learn from your mistakes. Don't just talk about it. Oh, well, you know, there's these issues going on in the world and the government's not. It's like, okay, dude, you're the master of your own universe. And the sooner you realize that, mentally, you're going to start to shift how you act, because like, you don't want to be seen as a victim. Nobody wants to be a victim.
Huge.
Like, you don't want to be sitting there like, oh, woe was me. It's like, yeah, dude, there are completely unfortunate situations. Like last year, what was it? I think it was May 1st. My father had passed away from late stage Alzheimer's. He was diagnosed, I want to say like 6 or 7 years ago, early onset Alzheimer's, because he got into a lot of fights as a kid. Like, oh my God, dude. That man.
He's a scrapper.
He threw down. threw down. Gets hit in the head with a bat, throws down anyway. Oh my God. It's so funny. But because of that, he, the brain is very fragile.
Yeah.
And it just got knocked, the wires a little loose. And unfortunately, the way our technology is, you cannot put that back together with, because the Alzheimer's medication now, they just changed it now because they just found out a lot of it was like BS, like these past 10, 17 years. But all we can do is slow it. Can't even stop it. It just slows it down. It's like, do you want to sink the ship or do you want to slowly go down? It's like, pick your poison. And he passed away having melted into something that I would say is below an animal, because you're not even conscious at that point. You're not even there. You're just pure animalistic instinct. And it is like the worst way you can go. And I had to watch that. So what do I take from that? Just live up to your full potential. That's not an excuse. My dad passed away. I had to watch all of that. Watch my family come around, cry, basically die inside watching all that. And what I did was I dealt with it, because that's all you can really do. Like, you can't just, I got to go see my therapist. I'm going to take antidepressants. It's like, okay, I mean, if you have to do that stuff, do it, dude. Do what you need to do. But like, I need to be there for my family, because right now we're missing a father. So I'm going to take that past and I'm going to learn from it and make sure that I continue to grow as a person instead of just dwelling on it,
I think
sorry if I put like a bit of a downer with that.
No, I think I think your father would be proud, man. The mentality that you have is so like refreshing. It's not a defeatist, like, oh man, it is what it is. You have no control. It's very much like a fighter, like he was, that you no matter what happens, what life throws at you, you're gonna pick yourself out of your bootstraps and get after it.
Yeah.
And I just have a lot of respect. We're kind of a new friend relationship, but like I thought I had a good grasp of kind of who you were. But this totally changes who I thought
Thank
you were.
you.
I think you're man. Just like I said, I'm really appreciative of you sharing your life, and man, I'm so sorry for your loss. It's so recent too, and I think for sure though that you are who you surround yourself with. And if you surround yourself with the right people, and you build those connections, and you work on yourself, then you're able to kind of build the person that you want to become. Absolutely. And I love this mantra of like become the best version of yourself. I think that's like some of the best. So yeah. So there's not much for me to say. I'm man. So we have a painting that was donated for this story. This was made by Jovonni Christian, MKC. She's the producer of the show. And one of the biggest things is I know that one of the things that she was talking about, she was like, Ben's like a seed. Okay. Like sprouts into this giant, like, you know what I'm saying? Like just sprawling guy. And I kind of think it kind of does kind of reflect kind of what you mentioned as well. This kind of blossoming into the best version of yourself. And I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool. So thanks to MKC for for donating a painting for us today.
Looks great. Thank you. You got my favorite color on there, red. So, I was,
Hey, let's get it.
Close enough.
Let's go. Where can people find you, man? Where can people connect with you? How do people get in contact with you?
So probably the best is my Instagram. It's kind of private right now just because like I've been having some issues with some people. Instagram handle is Sattini_Lamborghini. So my last name SATTINI_Lamborghini.
We'll put all your stuff in the description below as well. And yeah, man, thank you so much for being on the show with us. Thank you for sharing your story. I'm excited to now kind of talk about more current events. Really excited about the Mr. Beast thing as well. And thank you for everyone who tuned in. Thank you for everyone who kind of just, and please like, comment, subscribe, share to a friend. This is again the story of your community of people that you walk this world with. And our goal is to help each other understand each other every day. Yeah, man. So everyone knows the message of the day: be the best version of yourself. Let's get it.
That's right.
Happy Friday. Let's go. All right, guys. Have a good night.